Good evening and welcome to Tractor Time with Mr. Mick, and I have a book tonight. If you can see, it's a little golden book. And when I was a young kid, my grandma had a bunch of little golden books in her closet, and when I'd go over to grandma's, I always wanted to read one of those little golden books. Okay, this one's called A Day on the Farm. Okay, and in the story, Farmer Brown goes mowing hay. And I have an H Farmall toy that I brought out because when I was young, my dad used to mow hay with our H Farmall, so it reminded me of that when I was reading about Farmer Brown. Another thing it reminded me about was the class of 2020 from Goodrich High School. Here's a picture. It's Blake Jensen and I on his W12 tractor. Well, when Blake was a fifth grader instead of a senior, we took a field trip to Blake's farm and we looked at the horses, and Mr. Mick got to drive the W12, and we played baseball and we had a good time. So when I read this book, A Day on the Farm, it reminded me of growing up on the farm and all kinds of good farm memories. A Day on the Farm. Farmer Brown and his family lived on a farm in the country. Every morning when the sun comes up, Farmer Brown goes out to the barn. He milks the cow and he feeds hay to the horses. There he is, milking the cows and feeding the horses. He scatters grain to the hungry chickens. Cluck, 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 says the old red hen. The pig likes to have his back scratched with a stick. Oink, oink, he grunts. He's very pleased. There's the chicken, all the chickens and the pig. When he has finished with his chores, Farmer Brown walks back into the farmhouse and Mrs. Brown cooks eggs, bacon, and pancakes for breakfast. Yum, yum, say Sally and Sam. They are just as hungry as the animals on the farm. Jip and Mittens are hungry too. There they are, getting ready for breakfast. At 9 o'clock, the school bus comes by to pick up Sally and Sam. Honk, honk, the driver toots his horn. Hi, say all the children on the bus. Sally and Sam climb in and wave goodbye to Jip as the bus drives down the road. There's the bus full of kids heading off to school. Farmer Brown goes back to the barn and he starts up the tractor. It's time to cut and rake the hay. He drives around the field in the warm sun. Jip chases a rabbit in the tall grass. There's that tractor getting ready to go mow some hay. In the farmhouse, Mrs. Brown is baking a chocolate cake. Aunt Alice and Uncle Tom are coming for supper tonight. They are bringing their two children to play with Sally and Sam. Mittens wants to lick the bowl. Scat, cries Mrs. Brown. Mittens is not really afraid, but he runs out the door. Silly cat. It is noon and time for lunch, and Farmer Brown meets the mailman coming up the path, and he has a package for the Browns. What can it be? Lots of new baby chicks. Farmer Brown carries the box to the hen house. When the chicks are bigger, they will run in the barnyard with the other farm animals. Here's the box of baby chicks. At 4 o'clock, Sally and Sam come home from school. They show Mrs. Brown their new books and pencils. It's fun to play in the yard. Sally climbs an apple tree, and Sam carves a boat to sail in the pond. The children ride their pony around the field. Aunt Alice and Uncle Tom are here for supper. Sally and Sam are glad to see their cousins. Mrs. Brown's chocolate cake is a big success, and Uncle Tom eats 3 pieces. There they are riding their horse and having supper. The big folks sit on the porch and chat while the children play hide-and-go-seek. The harvest moon is rising over the fields. Aunt Alice and Uncle Tom and the children say goodnight, and they drive away. Time for bed. Tomorrow is another busy day. Good night, Sally. Good night, Sam. Good night, Jip, and good night, Mittens. The end of the day on the farm.